Welcome to day 4 of our custom DIY van high-top build. As you can see, there's still no roof on here. One of my granddaughters last night looked in the van and she said, "Pops, you don't have a hole in your roof. You don't even have a roof." So that's kind of where we're at. We took out about half the roof. So we had to get some more materials this morning. Up here we have some 16-foot pieces of lumber that we're using for the top rail on just make it easier. So we'll be putting those up on top. We're putting the wall studs or the risers or whatever you want to call the things on today. We just have a couple bolts I want to finish throwing in. I got one right here drilled out. We just want to put 2 more in the front on each side to keep everything solid. Melanie took the headliners out, the rest of those, so we can get to everything. But I was a little bit short on my bolt, so we had to go get some I had 2 bolts, I need 4, and we were short on washers. So we don't want to buy a bunch of extra stuff that we aren't going to use, so we're trying to buy just enough, and sometimes we run a little short on something like on this case. So we grabbed that hardware. We got some sealant. We're going to work on sealing in more around where the wood meets the metal. And there'll be another layer of that still to come too. But otherwise, we're ready to start going up. Just these couple bolts, then we're going to start going up and framing everything up. So we're excited to see that development. We've had the van out for a couple of drives now, and it's really kind of nice with a roof open. Get nice airflow. I'm a little bit regretting that we have to close it in. Plus, when we just get in here to work and we can stand up and look out the top, it is kind of fun. But obviously, it's going to rain sooner or later. Like today, the wind's blowing again, which is why we're kind of hiding down here in the van instead of standing up so you can see more. We'll continue to shoot some footage as we work on this build, but it's blowing pretty good today. So when we record, we might have to be hiding inside like this. But we're gonna go ahead and get to it. Like I said, the headliner's out, a few more bolts, and then we're gonna start going up and sealing some things in. And while we're at it, we've got some urethane adhesive. We're gonna glue this darn weather seal, the door seal, back in place. This has been falling down for as long as I've owned the van, and every time it falls down, I grumble, put it back in place, and say, I've got to get some adhesive and glue this thing in place so it stops falling down. We have adhesive now, and it fell down again this morning, so we're gonna fix it while we're at it. Okay, it's coming along. We've been a little short on video clips the last few minutes because it's taken 2 people to get these wall studs up. You can see them coming together. We're doubling the corners. We only have one in this back corner so far, so there'll be another one there as well. It's a little freaky. I'm used to seeing 18-inch, 24-inch high tops. We're going 36. The reason for that is, so it's more like a wheelchair van type high top. Reason for that is we need the space, and we're going to lose a few inches. We're saying 36. That's from where the original roof was on the sides. So by the time we actually get up, have the floor in there, some insulation on the floor, and then the ceiling, we're not really going to have 36 inches of extra. So we'll keep on putting this together. We'll be back in a few minutes to explain a little more about what's going on. Okay, there too. Okay, so that's the final corner piece. We got double braces, double studs on each corner. I just put in a construction screw on each one right now so we can tweak things a little bit. We're gonna go back around and put structural screws top and bottom on each of these as well for strength and to make sure that there's resist against any shear forces. with wind hitting and everything. So this is just the first step to get things squared up nicely where we want them. And then we've got up on the roof, we've got some 16-foot 2x6s, 2x4s, 2x4s, 16-foot 2x4s. Our entire span from the front to the back here is 15 feet because of the cab over. So we got some 16-foot lumber. We'll cut a foot off, and we'll have, that way we'll have a single board running the entire top there for the top plate. And then we'll put the roof on from there. So, and of course, we're going to put some more wall studs along the perimeter here. You might be wondering why we made the decision to put these studs or wall framing outside of this rim board. Basically, we figured we had three options. One was to just straddle it on the top. That's going to be hard to make it good and strong as I want it to be. Even if we use like plates or something, I think it still wouldn't be as strong. Second option was to tuck them inside, which I can't quite reach to show you, but to tuck them inside, and that would have been very, very strong. The catch is we would have lost that much more interior space. So we opted to go outside this rim board, and they'll be roughly every 12 inches. And then I'm going to block it in across, which will give it additional strength in terms of any temptation of the boards to want to move. And we'll insulate then outside of this rim board. So this will be where the insulation is in a wall cavity outside here. So that's going to save us about 3 inches, 3.5 inches of interior space on each side, which when you're talking about a 6-foot wide van, an extra 6 inches is a big deal. So that's why we made that decision. I don't know if it's right, wrong, or otherwise, but that's why we're doing it, and I think it'll work out all right. We're gonna put structural screws in here still, and I'll throw another construction screw in each one too, so it'll be plenty strong. And then they're gonna be tied together with screws. And then once we put plywood on the outside, we're going with a light plywood, obviously, because of weight concerns. But once we put that on, that'll further tie everything all together as well. And you may notice if you're looking at this thing, there are places where it doesn't look perfectly straight, and that's because this van roof is not perfectly straight. This thing curves. I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but the body curves top to bottom like a bar of soap. It curves front to back like a bar of soap on the sides. The roof curves front to back and side to side. So nothing is square like the Sprinter or ProMaster or Transit. They're not perfectly square, but much more so. Never mind a box truck or something, right? So everything's curved. We're doing the best we can with that. And for when we get done with this, you won't know the difference. And tighten that one up. And it's not going to affect anything we're doing inside. So, and it's all bolted down securely to the roof. So it does look a little bit off, but it's just the nature of working with a very curved van. And if we didn't have that bow, basically is because we tightened everything down and bolted it down. So we kind of conformed the wood to the metal, and in some places we conformed the body panels a little bit to the wood. All right, I'm gonna get back to it. This is freaky. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's a big project, big changes. I've been seeing this van look the same way for years and years. So a little bit unnerving doing a big change like this, but we're going to lift one of those 2x4 top plates into place right now and see how that looks. All right, so that's a wrap on day 4. You can see we made a lot of progress today. We've got most of the thing framed in. Right now we got 48-inch framing on the sidewalls. We're going to be doing 24-inch framing, so we have to fill in the other ones tomorrow. It was another 4 trip to the hardware store day because, I mean, it was like the final set of bolts I put in, I didn't have the right length, and it just little things like that. So then we ran out of screws. We had to go get more screws, which aren't very good, so we'll be getting different screws tomorrow, but that's the way these projects go. So we'll be filling in, you know, the alternate ones here so that we're at 24-inch framing, and that means we got to throw a couple more in the front and the back, and then we got to put in the roof trusses, or rafters, the roof rafters. A little more structural framing on top, but it's closing in. It's starting to look like something. We still have to close in some trim around the rough edge inside. We cut out the metal, but we made a lot of progress. We're really excited about that. And at least it looks like something's happening now. And I don't know if we've mentioned it before. The nose of this is right now is going to be flat, and the reason for that is that we have just enough room for what we need, which we'll cover more in the next video or two. We didn't want to be angling the nose, which would be a little easier on aerodynamics, but it would cut into space we need. So we will be looking, or either making or trying to acquire like a fairing or something to go on the front, a bubble or a slope to go on the front as a add-on thing to help a little bit with the aerodynamics. So we will be looking at that. Is just going to be after we get the rest of the structure done. So a little more framing tomorrow on day 5, and hopefully get some plywood on, because I'm worried about the weather. There's nothing in the forecast, which is good, but I am, this time of year in Wyoming, we can go from like hot to snow, or a day of rain potentially, and I want to get, usually it's snow, but I want to get this closed in and dried in before that happens. So once that happens, we can relax a little and take a little more time on everything else, but we're kind of pushing hard until we get that done. So we hope you're enjoying this video series so far. If you haven't hit the like button already, please consider doing that, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet already, so you can catch the whole series here. And we will have a playlist, a link to the playlist in the video description for this Hightop build. So if you want to just check out all the videos, if you're coming in the middle or at the end of the series, you can do that and see what we did and how we did it and why we did it. And this is something that's going to work for us. This is super sturdy and solid. We've been like testing it as we're building it, yanking on things. We can make the 1-ton van, we can make the van rock, but nothing moves. So it's really solid. It's going to be more solid when we're done. We are trying to be weight conscious and keep it as light as possible, but we're trying to explain what we're doing as we go. So hopefully it'll be useful to anyone watching. So thanks for following along, and we will catch you in the next one. We're going to go find some dinner and a cold beverage, because it's been a long day again. We'll be back at it tomorrow for day 5. Day 5 tomorrow. So.